Hey everyone, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today we're going to take a look at the NZXT Kraken Elite RGB coolers. Now I have tested all three of them. What I've also done, just for those of you out there that might not be interested in super intensive Cinebench 24 or OCCT benchmark runs, I've actually just done some gaming runs as well so that you can see the performance with a normal gaming load, because a lot of people just want a very quiet cooler that is going to work for their gaming, it's not going to be loud, and they don't really care about stuff that is loading up every single one of the cores at 124%. I know you can't do 124, I actually in my head wanted to say 101%, but you get what I mean. Now please, if you like the video, remember to like, subscribe and comment. You can also head over to the website if you'd like to dissect the graphs in more detail. But the coolers themselves, they do come in an RGB and a non-RGB version. The non-RGB ones are about £20–30 cheaper, but the 240 comes in at 229 GBP, Great British Beer Tokens. The 280 comes in at 239, and the 360 comes in at 279. And I have got notes because I don't script. Now the screen isn't everything about the cooler, although it is massive. They've made it humongous, and it's now got a 640 by 640 resolution. That's an IPS screen as well. And what they've also done is, yes, you can play videos on it, although I will say NZXT does say in the software that you can put YouTube playlist links in there and it will just play them. So far I've not been able to get that to work. I've had to use direct video links, as you can see. So maybe that's something you need to test a little bit more. Get your local rep to drop me a link and I'll send you the ones that don't work for me. Anyway, so the lighting around the outside is, you can actually get it to link up with the video or the GIFs and stuff, a bit like the Aura light that you get from Philips and things like that. I think Theyve do some things as well where you can have the lights around your telly. Well, the lights around the AIO here can do the same. You'll also note there are no wires that go from the actual sort of radiator down into the pump, and there are no wires that come out of the pump either. They're all hidden inside the hose meshing here, but the only thing that I will say is there is wiring that goes from the radiator out round the back of your cooler. This is a bit thick and clunky though. I can't help but feeling they probably could have done a better job of this. Definitely done a better job of the braid. Now on this you've got, I'm not sure how many there are, let's just say a 20 pin connector at the end. Then the fans from the AIO itself connect into this. So this plugs into the rad, disappears out the back. Depending on where your fan cables come out, you then need to plug it into this. There's a USB connector, there's a pump RPM header if you want to use it. I didn't even bother plugging it in. And then it's powered by a SATA. Once you get this in and clipped in, if you've got some zip ties, you spend a little bit of time on it, it's not going to look too bad. The other side of things is the pump, because effectively they've used a completely new OEM to work on to design and build this in collaboration with, and rather than Acetec, because it's not them anymore, it's now Coolit. And the pump is a custom now NZXT pump that they've worked on with Coolit, and it's their new turbine pump. And it did, and the way they kind of touted it, that it was going to be amazing. Now I tested this with the pump on performance mode, just so that I knew we were getting kind of the best situation that we could do. And I was actually really impressed with the lack of interference with the noise. You don't hear it over the fans. Now the fans aren't particularly loud. People are going to say, why don't you sound test them? And that's just because half the time the ambient noise in the room, even in a quiet room, is going to be louder than the fans anyway. The case fans that I've got in this set to 1200 RPM were predominantly louder than the cooler, unless it was running at max. Now max RPM For the 240s, it's 2,400 RPM. For the 140 fans, it's 2,000 RPM. Now, a 2,000 RPM, 140mm fan is going to move an awful lot of air. Now, you can check the specs for them on the boxes and all of that sort of stuff, but to be honest with you, they're really quiet, and I always tune them. For me, I want them to be properly quiet. I don't want a noisy rig. So I always set my fan profiles depending on what I'm going to be doing the most. So the most stressful thing I do on my PC is rendering video. So I render a video and then I tune my fan curve accordingly. If you're doing gaming, you'll be able to... In fact, let's show you some gaming results. Because at the end of the day, like I've said, we don't always do benchmarks. Like you at home, you might not be doing benchmarks all the time. You're just going to be gaming. So I'm hoping these results are going to help you. Now, you can see all three of the coolers in the graphs. And what we've done is we've tested at 1,000 RPM, we've tested at 1,500 RPM, and we've tested at their max. They all perform really, really well. But I personally think that if you look at the 1,000 RPM tests, they're the ones that have most surprised me, if I'm completely honest. But they have performed better than I probably would have expected, because for airflow wise, when I first got these single bladed fans, I wasn't entirely sold with them, but as a package with the AIO like this, it's amazing. Now I want to talk some more about the screen, because it does do 640 by 640. It's IPS, like I've said. Yes, you can put those videos on, like I've said, but the amount of other stuff that you can do, you can have 3 different temperature settings, and you can set all of those up if you want. You can have temperatures, you can have percentage usages, you can change all the colours. You can have GIFs running in the background if you want, instead of the colours. The lights are all customizable. You can pair the lights with the fans if you want, or you can have them set separately. It is pretty much infinitely customizable. Now, with them overall, I originally thought getting into the £300 bracket was fairly expensive. Yes, there are Asus ones out there that are 400 plus. But I think once you start looking at the size of that screen, and we do need to remember that is a large IPS screen with a decent resolution on it as well, that can fully play videos. It's not just kind of a graphical thing, it's a really decent quality screen. It surpasses any of the screens I've seen so far on the Asus ones, and it just looks the part. The worst bit about this cooler, and I do mean it, the worst bit, is that cable that you're just going to shove down the back of your motherboard tray anyway, and you're pretty much not going to see it. So if you're after a white NZXT cooler, now I will say NZXT cooler because you do need cam to run it. So if you do end up buying one, it kind of makes sense to at least have the case fans NZXT as well. You can get hubs to plug them all in, but it means that you can link everything up. Yes, you can run it standalone if you want, but I think if it was me, I'd want to link all of my fans all in together, so I just had one set of software to run, and then you're not just running cam for this. Overall, I really, really like this cooler. I'm going to go out there and say this Kraken, the Elite V2, do they put V2 on it? No, it's the Elite RGB. I'm not sure where I got V2 from. I'm sure I've written or read V2 somewhere. It's going to annoy me now that I've said it, because I'm not going to cut it out. But it's the best Kraken I've had. The software is definitely the best it's been to date as well. And the quality of that screen really does drive home, and there's so much that you can do on that and make it a centre point in your rig. I love it. I like it so much, it's actually starting to annoy me. Which one would I have though? I'd be on the 360 personally, just because I like a nice big radiator. But weirdly, as you've seen, there's not always a great deal between the 360 and the 280. So if you've got a shorter case, you can still get some decent temps out of that. But anyway, this has been Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you like the NZXTs. Don't forget you can go and check out on the website if you want to go and have a look. But for now, at least, this is me out. Love you, sis.